Michael Jordan is back. The legendary NBA prodigy is set to reappear on our screens, but this time, not while on the court. We're set to relive every moment of Jordan's court adventure with the long-anticipated movie Air, which tells the tale of the iconic Air Jordan trainers, and guess what? Michael Jordan has just released his list of demands for making the new movie. MJ's requirements are so heavy that they're bound to leave you on the edge of your seat. So get your popcorn ready, put your feet up, and join us as we unveil the man's vision for what could be the greatest sports movie of all time. Let's go. First things first, let's talk about the man himself, Michael Jordan. To say that he is a legend in the world of basketball would be an understatement. Jordan's contribution to the game is nothing short of phenomenal, and his name is synonymous with excellence, perseverance, and dedication. It is no wonder then that his fans are eagerly waiting to see him grace the big screen once again. So what's Michael Jordan's list of demands for making the new movie Air? Affleck had disclosed that he spoke with the former basketball great to ensure his satisfaction with the movie's plot before the movie's cameras began rolling. It turns out that Jordan had a long list of demands for Affleck in exchange for his approval, including a veto over the casting of his cherished mother, Dolores. During the movie's debut at the 2023 South by Southwest Conference and Festival in Austin, Texas, Affleck said, "I had a chance to sit down with Michael Jordan because I just wasn't going to make this movie without asking him, 'What matters to you?' Interestingly and tellingly, he had a few things that mattered." Howard White, the vice president of the Jordan brand and a Nike official who was absent from the initial screenplay, was one of Jordan's requests that the movie include. White needs to be in the movie, Jordan informed Affleck after learning White was left out of the initial draft. Chris Tucker was chosen to play White in the film. The demands didn't end there, as Affleck continued. Michael Jordan, for those of you who don't know, is one of the most intimidating, impressive men you'll ever see in your life. He told me about his father, and then he talked about his mother. It was the first time I saw this look cross his face. It was a look of reverence, of awe, of love and gratitude, and innocence. He said, "None of this would ever have happened without my mother." Affleck said that after hearing Jordan talk about his mother, he asked Jordan who he wanted to portray his Dolores Jordan. Jordan immediately knew who he wanted to say and said, "Viola Davis." That's like saying, "Can I play basketball on your court?" "Yeah, if you get Michael Jordan," Affleck said. Viola Davis is the best actor I've ever seen. This is a hard business. It's hard to know if you're successful. It's hard to know if you've accomplished something. Davis was one of Hollywood's most sought-after performers, yet Affleck was able to get him in the film. Speaking about that particular achievement, he said, "But honest to God, I always felt that if I was a director one day and I had Viola Davis in a movie, that would really be something. That would mean the world to me." And it does. The stars of the movie. Audiences may expect an all-star cast from Air. Matt Damon plays Sonny Vaccaro in the movie. Jordan's historic deal with Nike was signed by Vaccaro, an ambitious sports entrepreneur. Ben Affleck also portrays Phil Knight, a co-founder of Nike. Nobody else had seen Jordan's potential until Knight. In the meanwhile, Dolores Jordan, played by Viola Davis, offers the viewpoint of a mother. Dolores fights tenaciously to preserve her son's value and abilities. The film also has a superb supporting cast in addition to the main characters. John Bernthal, who portrays the CEO of Nike's marketing division, and comedian Jimmy Kimmel, who portrays a fictitious version of himself, both appear in memorable cameos. For the first time, Affleck is directing Damon, a friend and frequent collaborator. The two have previously collaborated on a variety of projects, including the Jay and Silent Bob films, Dogma, 1999, and Good Will Hunting, 1997, which they both co-wrote and starred in. The connection between Michael Jordan and Nike, which altered basketball culture and modernized shoe culture, will be vividly portrayed in the upcoming film Air. Basketball lovers, shoe aficionados, and admirers of Michael Jordan are all anxiously awaiting the debut of Air and the opportunity to see the account of how a young basketball star and a budding shoe firm transformed the game forever. The movie is set to be released on April 5th, 2023. The true story behind the Michael Jordan movie Air. The story of the Air Jordan shoe brand's beginnings is told in the Ben Affleck-helmed movie Air. Nike took a big risk with the Air Jordan line, and it paid off handsomely. One of the biggest marketing success stories in history is Nike's legendary alliance with Michael Jordan. But at the time, it was seen as a huge risk. Basketball marketing plans had never been developed around a single player, much less a rookie who had never stepped foot on an NBA floor. The new movie Air, which Ben Affleck is directing, tells the tale of how the Air Jordan shoe line came to be, how it became a cultural phenomenon, and how it helped the once startup Nike firm become well known. Although there are conflicting versions over who is the most responsible for the cooperation, Air mostly concentrates on Sonny Vaccaro, the Nike executive credited with coming up with the first concept. While Jordan isn't present in the movie, he specifically asked Viola Davis to portray his mother, Dolores Jordan. She was instrumental in the creation of the Air Jordan brand since, before signing with Nike, Michael wasn't even a fan. Dolores persuaded him to schedule a meeting with the firm. Here's everything you need to know about how Air Jordans were really made before you see the movie. Nike struggles in the shoe industry. Prior to the Jordan agreement, Nike was having trouble. Its stocks reached a low in 1984 as the business trailed behind Reebok and Converse. Due to his prior experience arranging high school championships, Vaccaro had developed a sizable network of connections in the basketball industry. He had previously presented Nike with the concept of an exclusive shoe line. When the plan was turned down, Vaccaro was given a budget to recruit athletes and coaches to provide testimonials for Nike by Rob Strasser, who is portrayed by Jason Bateman in the movie. When Vaccaro convinced a teenage Larry Bird to wear Nikes on the Sports Illustrated cover, his reputation climbed even further. After Jordan led the North Carolina Tar Heels to victory in the 1982 NCAA championship game, Vaccaro's idea for a shoe line was revitalized. According to Vaccaro, something occurred in front of the world, as recorded in Roland Lazenby's Michael Jordan, The Life. Jordan would become a legend in Vaccaro's opinion, and he intended to create a shoe company around him. Jordan, though at the time favored Converse and Adidas. He admitted that before signing with Nike, he had never worn Nike footwear. Perception of potential. Basketball marketing methods at the time focused more on teams than individuals. Thus, Vaccaro's novel idea was seen as hazardous. While Strasser was unaware of Jordan at the time, he recognized the potential in it and predicted that future advertising efforts will certainly center on specific sportsmen. Peter Moore, a creative designer for Nike, who is portrayed by Matthew Mahar in the movie, also took part in the brainstorming session when the term Air Jordan was initially proposed. Before the meeting was even through, Moore drew the brand's logo. Jordan's signature was required for the following phase, which would be difficult to get. The first encounters between Jordan and Vaccaro weren't exactly pleasant. Jordan said he knew very little about Nike and was just interested in receiving a vehicle as part of the transaction. "I'm not sure I want to have anything to do with such a dodgy character," he said, referring to his lack of enthusiasm for Vaccaro. While Jordan hadn't yet begun his NBA career, the offer was unprecedented. He would make $2.5 million over 5 years in addition to royalties on each pair of shoes Nike sold. According to NSS magazine, the deal was the greatest gamble ever made. Getting over Michael Jordan's reservations. Dolores, Jordan's mother, was finally successful in persuading her son to accept the offer. Before Dolores persisted, Jordan wasn't even sure he wanted to board the aircraft for a significant meeting with Nike, according to NSS. Dolores spoke much of the time throughout the meeting. The only words Jordan spoke after seeing the red and black shoes was, "Red, the color of the devil." When Vaccaro indicated Nike was betting all in on their kid, Dolores appeared especially persuaded. Jordan nonetheless made a last-ditch attempt to remain with his favorite company, Adidas, who was paying $100,000 a year compared to Nike's $500,000 to stay with them. Jordan signed with Nike when Adidas refused to do so. Jordan ran into a possible problem when he discovered the NBA would punish him $5,000 per game if he wore the shoes. This was because the regulations required all players to wear shoes that matched their team's jerseys. Nike refused to back down and agreed to pay the penalties, ultimately reaping the rewards of the publicity. A timely success. The collaboration turned out to be a huge success. Nike's goal of $3 million in the first 3 years was shattered when sales of Air Jordans earned $126 million in only the first year. Nike rose to prominence as the leading manufacturer of athletic footwear, and the Air Jordan became a cultural phenomenon that gave rise to several variants. The Jordan brand by Nike is still successful. It generated $5.1 billion in revenue in 2022 and gave Jordan a personal profit of $256.1 million, more than double his NBA contract earnings. Nonetheless, there is a disagreement today between Jordan and Vaccaro over who is truly responsible for the Air Jordan. But that's by the way. Air captures a time before social media made everything about everyone ubiquitous, all the time. Before the NBA, led by Jordan, became the coolest sport around, and before Jordan was what he would become. Not just a great player, but a brand. Air isn't a documentary. It's better. A brilliant acted, fascinating true story, and you shouldn't hold back in watching it. And that's where we'll be dropping it for this video. We hope you enjoyed yourself. Bring in your thoughts in the comment section below, and of course, stay tuned for more interesting videos from us. Thanks for watching.